Welcome back, everybody. It's your favorite vampire Aveline here, and today we are continuing on with Hercule Poirot's The First Cases. So, give a bit of a recap of last time. We went looking through, finding out more and more information. We figured out the identity of the blackmailer. And then, of course, again, Angeline drops a nice little tidbit. And it has just made Poirot mad. But let's get into it. Because people keep lying to us, and it's not gonna look good on them. Alright, let's go. We're in Poirot's room. That poor plant. It honestly just looks like a tree that just got cut up and then stuck in a pot. I feel bad for it. It looks like Elizabeth is on her way to see me, but at such a late hour.
Mademoiselle, what a pleasure to see you.
Detective,
It is a rather late hour to be wandering the halls.
Very late hour.
Oh, yes, of course. I do not feel myself, Detective.
If that is the case, you should be resting. Allow me to help.
No, that's quite all right. I will see to my duties and return to bed.
Lizzie, excuse me, Elizabeth. Lady Van den Bosch has been waiting for some time now.
Oh, yes, sorry. Detective Poirot was just...
I'll see to the detective. You just head on up. Off you go.
Good night, Detective.
Bonne nuit, mademoiselle.
Mademoiselle Elizabeth is certainly not herself. I thought the death of the Major had brought up uncomfortable memories of her beloved Luke, but it may be something else. It may be something else. I don't know. What could it be?
I'm sorry about her, Detective. As you can see, she is still not back to her usual bubbly self.
Geez, I wonder why.
This weekend seems to have taken quite a toll on her.
Taking a toll on everybody. I mean, I came in to find a blackmailer, and instead I've got a murder case. Good news, found the blackmailer. Bad news, still got a murder case.
She'll be right as rain in a couple of days. Now, what can I help you with?
As if by magic you appeared when needed. I would like to speak with you and the remaining staff. If you could gather them in the staff pantry.
At this hour, Detective? Is that really necessary?
Yes.
I shall be the one that determines what is and what is not necessary, and this is very much the former.
Don't make him mad. He already knows that you lied to him, Archibald. He already knows. Now, I know. We all know you lied to us. So what reason do you have for hiding the truth?
As you wish, Detective. I'll see if Inge has finished preparing for breakfast.
And Mademoiselle Rihanna?
Yes, of course. I'll fetch her from the kitchen. Elizabeth may be some time with the lady of the house. Perhaps you'd like to start with us?
Very well. I shall speak with Mademoiselle Elizabeth when her duties are complete.
While I am gathering the staff, Mr. Beckers is in the library. If you wish to join him, I could bring you both a nightcap.
Oh yeah, this is taking place late at night. So when he mentions that Inge is preparing breakfast, they're pretty much preparing breakfast for the next day.
I wish to keep a clear head, but there is something I wish to discuss with Monsieur Beckers.
This is my opportunity to confront Monsieur Beckers about his dealings or lack thereof with Monsieur de Silva without being disturbed. Because as we recall, last chapter we found out that de Silva hired the Major for security purposes. However, unfortunately, that ended with several deaths. And de Silva was like, I didn't know what was going to happen when I hired him. He just kept asking me for more and more money, and his men all seemed like they were capable, because they were all men that the Major worked with. Well, worked under. Alright. Let's talk to Hugo. We did complete the blackmail map. We are in Chapter 7, The Family.
Monsieur Beckers, it is rather late. The other guests have already retired to their rooms.
I didn't even see the time. It's easy to lose oneself in a library this impressive.
That is something we can agree on, monsieur.
I suppose I should be heading?
A moment, monsieur. There are some matters that we must discuss.
Oh, what is it, detective?
Oh, let's see. What do we want to go with? I did not realize your relationship with Mademoiselle Conrad was so business-oriented.
I'm not sure what you mean.
Her proposal to make you somewhat of a star, a figurehead for the working man. What would you call that?
There was certainly no talk of making me a star. That is not the type of man I am. She wanted to write a piece on my work with the union, and I was happy to oblige.
Monsieur Beckers has always appeared to have the worker intentions at the forefront of his decisions, but perhaps the thought of being remembered for something great was too much for him to pass up. Wouldn't be surprised. I was wondering, did your speech go the way you expected?
My speech? I'm not sure what speech.
You may save your false ramblings for your next audience. I am aware you spoke with the Major yesterday.
Whoever told you that has it wrong, detective.
Please, monsieur. The truth.
You better give me the truth.
Okay, fine. Yes, the Major and I spoke, but it was not for long.
What was the manner of your conversation? From what I understand, it was not a light-hearted chat.
I was trying to convince him to speak with Ernesto. It's time we brought the strikes to an end.
And that was best approached by a shouting match?
Well, I mean, the Major and his men did start the riots.
He wouldn't listen to what I said. I spent so long preparing how I was going to convince him, but men like him are only swayed by one thing: money.
I mean, he's not wrong. Monsieur Beckers is not wrong. Had he tried to grease the Major's palm, perhaps he would have been more successful.
It is said that money is the root of all evil, but it can also be a rather powerful bargaining chip.
Well, he was bargaining with people's lives. If he had acted sooner, none of those men, my men, would have to die.
So Beckers blames himself. The Major oversaw security at the factories. Could he have done more to stop the strikes turning violent? No. Maybe that's what the Major wanted. If the strikes turn violent, then that means more money for him and his security team. I understand Monsieur de Silva had prepared a deal.
A deal? It was an insult!
And that is why you did not sign it?
I didn't sign it because the workers deserve so much more, not his pathetic attempts to get them back to work.
Did you think there was a chance for a better deal to be made?
I know there was. He's a pompous swine that cares for only himself and filling his pockets.
I'm sure I have heard that description of Monsieur de Silva before, or at least something similar. Alright. And now here comes the fun part. We're going to push on Jacqueline's influence over Hugo.
Mademoiselle Conrad can be quite convincing, can she not?
She has certainly taken several wealthy business partners by surprise with her knowledge and prowess. She knows how to use her womanly powers to get what she wants.
Uh-huh.
But she did not surprise or use you.
Me? Use me? Don't be ridiculous, detective. There were no games played at my expense.
Are you really sure about that? Monsieur Beckers is quite a way with words and is a fan of his own voice. Perhaps I should allow him the opportunity to speak and open up without too much interruption and forcefulness. Maybe by being suggestive?
Perhaps some, but I'm not so easily manipulated or simple-minded.
I mean, maybe?
And I stand by that. It was an insult.
A rather bold move to make such a decision on your own.
Your job is to support the workers, but nothing you have done has got them any closer to the results you promised.
I may not be perfect, but I've done everything I can.
Your efforts fell short in every respect. You claim to be the voice of the people, but you care about no one's voice or benefits but your own.
Ooh, you made Poirot mad.
It's not as easy as just signing a piece of paper, detective. It is a heavy weight to bear on one's shoulders. I consulted with others.
You yourself spoke of Mademoiselle Conrad's cunning in business.
And I told you, I was not one of her targets.
Tell me then, what was it she reminded you of? The acclaimed man of the people you would be known as if you pushed the factory owners for more?
It wasn't like that at all.
Why are you still protecting her?
From where I am standing, it was she that was manipulating the terms of the deal, and you in the process.
You were merely her pawn.
Okay, yes, I know. I shouldn't have listened to her. But what else could I do? Remain an unknown my whole life? I didn't mean for anyone to get hurt.
Ah, there it is. He feels guilty.
It may not have been your intention, but we both know the result. You rolled the dice with those men's lives for fame, and you lost.
Pardon my intrusion, but are you from a large family?
What does that have to do with anything?
I have often wondered about the competition siblings face in a large family.
When you're young, it is the best feeling to know you have family that will stand by you, without even being asked. It is not until everyone starts carving their own path that you realize you're walking yours solo, and those that were beside you are now miles away.
Oof.
My other brothers were the athletes of the family. They both played soccer, and were the infatuation of every teenage girl. I'm sure you have seen the type.
Oui, monsieur, but I can assure you that was not I.
Then there was me. Quiet, timid, a shadow of the Becker brothers. My voice and very presence was forgotten and ignored. Nothing I could say or do would ever reach the bar they had set. But I always knew I was destined for great things. Years passed, and now that I no longer stood in the colossal ombre of my brothers, I could become my own man. When the position of union leader was posted, it was my chance to finally be heard. You hear politicians speak of the little or the common man? Well, that was me. And I knew what we wanted and what we needed. When I spoke, others listened. I held their gaze with a sense of pride, a sense that what I was doing was for the greater good. It was supposed to be my crowning achievement, lead the men to victory over the money-grabbing oppressors. But instead, all I did was lead them to their deaths.
Monsieur, it was not at your hands that these men died. The blame cannot lie solely on your shoulders. Those responsible will be punished for their crimes. That you must trust.
Monsieur Becker's story is one of fighting to have one's voice heard, be it a single or one of the masses. I'm afraid he may be remembered for what he did, but not in the way he so hoped. Alright. Well, there's that little chat. What, Mina? My cat's being silly. She's chasing her tail right now. While speaking with Monsieur Beckers was not the reason for me being up at this hour, he was able to fill in some of the blanks regarding the Major, but not in getting any closer to discovering his killer. Perhaps the staff living quarters will. Alright. Was there anything? Nope. Now we gotta go investigate the staff living quarters. Alright. Could go into the pantry. But I should be allowed in here. Do I feel bad? No. It's not gonna let me out until I look through, like, whatever's all here. A decent supply of logs. I just hope the staff also get to make use of them with this weather. Alright. They are a few days old and do not hold a candle as to what has transpired here this weekend. I'm glad I'm a guest of the house. I'm not sure how well I would sleep in such a contraption. What's in the cupboard? There doesn't seem to be anything of interest in here.
Oh.
Okay. It was worth a shot. Whose luggage?
Huh.
Or a war medal that I assume must belong to the Major. So what's a war medal doing here in the servant quarters? A rather luxurious jackets. The initials read F.H. Felix Hagen. Are these scruffy boots his as well? Why would they be left here, though? The items I have found are most intriguing and require an explanation that I believe only the staff can give. I shall meet them in the pantry.
Detective, what can we do for you?
You can help me by telling the truth, and in the process, help yourselves.
Sorry, Detective. It's a bit late in the night for riddles.
It is no riddle, monsieur. If I do not receive the truth, you shall all be charged as accessories to murder.
And you all have a reason for it. Well, y'all have a
Detective,
motive.
I think maybe you have been locked in this house for too long. We have already...
You have told me a version, and now I require honesty.
That we do. Let's go ahead in. So, we've got 2 links so far. It was Hugo that saw the Major outside, but yet the Major's coat was in the servants' quarters.
Magnifique.
So that means the Major would not have left a fine coat in the staff area. Someone must have worn it. More importantly, however, who wore the Major's clothes? So, even though Hugo claims to have seen the Major outside, but maybe it wasn't the Major at all. So somebody else wore the coat to throw everybody else off.
I should not be surprised by my own skills of deduction.
Ariana did claim to take ice to the Major, and Archibald did stage the phone call because the little tidbit that Angeline dropped for us was that the phones had been down all weekend. The storm the night before didn't knock them out. The theory that the Major has been killed during dinner was nothing but a ruse. Why are the staff covering for the real time of death? So why would you do that? Why do that? Why hide the real?
Monsieur Sterling, is there anything you would like to add to your story?
Why hide the real killer?
I'm not sure what you think I have done, Detective.
Let us not string out this charade any longer.
The telephone call the Major received.
From his associate. I've already told you, Detective. I don't know who it was.
And of course, the music changes as soon as I ask that question. I don't know, Archibald. You tell me.
Do not worry yourself on such details now. I suppose they were lucky to have called when they did. Otherwise, they may not have gotten through at all, with the telephone lines being down as of yesterday.
Aye, Detective. Lucky, I guess.
Monsieur Sterling is no fool. I believe he is aware I suspect him of something. Perhaps some carefully worded questions are all that are needed for him to slip up. You were the last to see the Major alive when you brought him the bottle of whiskey in his study, correct?
Whiskey?
You took a bottle of whiskey to the Major. You spoke with Monsieur Demire en route.
Aye, of course. It was a bottle he picked up from his last visit to Scotland. Rather smoky number from the Highlands. He was saving it for a worthy occasion. Drowning his sorrows must have been fitting enough.
At first, he does not remember a bottle at all, and then, as if by magic, he recalls the exact details. Archie, you're hiding something.
Or was it the one from the West Coast? You'll have to excuse my memory, Detective. It's not what it used to be.
Can you explain why a medal belonging to the Major was amongst your belongings?
Oh, you found it. Thank you, Detective. I've been looking everywhere for it.
If I had lost a war medal, I would not stop until I found it.
It's not what you think. I was...
Exploiting a dead man's military achievements for your own personal gain?
Nothing of the sort. He asked me to clean them up. I must have dropped it into my pocket when I was putting them back. An honest mistake.
And now he gets defensive. Never had I heard such a pathetic excuse to explain a stolen item in one's possession. I would expect a better life from an infant. I cannot claim to be an expert, but I would presume a medal like that would be of quite some value.
I wouldn't know. Probably.
Your father was in the military for many years. That is what you told me.
He was.
And your family still keep his medals?
They were sold.
And why was that, monsieur?
Is my family on trial now, Detective?
Only you, monsieur. And I repeat my question.
You just made him mad again.
Because we needed money.
Voila.
Monsieur Sterling was well aware of the metal's value when it found its way into his belongings. You claim the Major asked you to clean his metals for display purposes?
No, he keeps them safe with some of his old military documentation.
Is that a typical job for the head butler?
He trusts me to do a good job. I told him I used to clean my father's, so he asked me to do the same.
Well, I mean, my dad used to ask me to clean the grill grates every time he, wanted to use the grill. So I totally get that.
And where does he keep these items?
In the storage room. I know where everything is, so it's just easier if I fetch them for him as and when he needs them.
I do not recall seeing any military memorabilia or keepsakes when I was in the storage room. Could there be another storage room he speaks of? Are you happy here at the Van de Bosch house?
It's certainly better than my last.
You are paid a fitting wage for the work that is asked of you?
I'm sure the lady of the house would not want me discussing it, but I should not complain.
That is not the most convincing answer, monsieur.
Between you and I, we all work very hard here, and it would be nice if we were rewarded for it.
It seems Monsieur Sterling is trying to convince me, as he has himself, that his light-fingered actions are justifiable due to the petite wage he receives for his honest work.
Please don't go anywhere. If I require more information, I shall call on you again.
I mean, kinda sounds like, today's economy. Sorry. I try not to get political during my videos. However, a lot of things that have happened in the past, especially historical period dramas, tend to reflect what goes on in modern times. So, looks like we've got a link. And what link will that be? So, worn out boots. Oh. Because the madam doesn't pay the staff very well.
Finally coming together.
I should have known at first glance these belonged to a member of the staff, but who? So, these are the staff member boots.
I cannot see the logic in this. Perhaps a second look at the evidence in front of me.
Wait a second. Somebody wore the worn out boots. As well as the Major's coat.
What a revelation.
A staff member dressed in the Major's clothes and took his position out in the snow for the guests to see. Why would they do this? So that way, it would make it look like the Major died earlier rather than later. Well, excuse me.
Mademoiselle, I shall keep my questions brief.
What I meant to say was that it makes it look like the Major died later rather than earlier.
I don't know what else I can tell you.
You have been honest with me so far. All I request is that you continue to do so.
Oui, détective.
I am already aware of Mademoiselle's involvement with the blackmail, but I am not sure if she is also connected to the Major's murder. Tell me what happened before you found the Major in his study.
It was frantic in the pantry. We were working hard to make sure everything was up to scratch.
Go on.
Then Liz burst in, asking for Mamore's help.
Her help with what, exactly?
I don't know. She took Liz to one side, and I was needed in the salon. We spoke just after that in the pantry.
You did not question what she needed help with?
I was too busy. I love Liz, but she sheds a tear at almost everything these days. Although, I have never seen her look so pale.
Mademoiselle Elizabeth still looks pale when I saw her earlier. I understand the amount of work that goes into keeping a house of this size running, but Madame cannot expect the staff to work if they are ill. Perhaps Mademoiselle Rihanna can clear up the reason for Elizabeth's panic.
Merci. I shall return if I have any further questions.
Okay. We didn't get anything from that. Rihanna!
Mademoiselle, I shall be as quick and precise with my questioning as possible.
What have you got for me?
Okay. What do you need?
My condolences on your brother's passing.
Merci. He was a good man. Taken too early.
Forgive me, mademoiselle, for not extending them earlier, but I was not aware of your relationship.
He was my only brother. And he died doing what he believed was right. If I ever get my hands on who took him from me.
I understand why she is so angry for her brother to be taken from this world at such a young age and in such a violent manner. Violence cannot be met with violence, but I am not sure Mademoiselle feels the same. Tell me about your brother's involvement in the riots at the factory.
You say the riots, but it was the strike he was part of. They started the riots, not the workers.
By they, you are referring to the security forces. They were brought in to keep the peace.
Security, huh? They were brought in to make an example of them. It was all peaceful until they arrived.
And given the Major's, history, yeah.
Why would they need to make an example?
So that the workers would stop rallying. No one is going to go on strike if they think they'll get killed.
She's not wrong.
The security you talk of were armed and ready. The workers were pigs to the slaughter. What chance did they have?
It is obvious Mademoiselle is still upset about her brother's death, and rightly so. If the events were as Mademoiselle describes, I cannot comprehend how the security forces were able to get away with such despicable acts of violence. Neither did De Silva. I'll give him that. He was probably innocent on that. Pardon moi, Mademoiselle, I know we have spoken on this, but you took ice to the Major, correct?
Yes.
This was before or after Archibald took him a bottle of whiskey.
Uh-oh.
Before.
You are sure?
It may have been after.
The whiskey is kept in the cellar with all the alcohol.
It is.
Then you must have noticed him going into the cellar and returning with a bottle through the pantry, no?
Yes, I suppose I did. It must have been before then.
It took only one question for Mademoiselle to doubt her own story. What I still cannot see is why the need for lies. Tell me about Elizabeth yesterday.
What is there to say? Being locked away in the pantry, I don't see her for most of the day.
That may be, but she came looking for your help before dinner was served, did she not?
She wasn't feeling well, that's all.
And she came to you.
I told you, we are a family here. The girls come to Mama Reh if they have a problem, and I fix it.
When I saw her earlier, I must admit she was not looking herself. Perhaps I should check on her.
No, just leave the poor girl. She'll be fine after another bowl of my homemade soup. She just needs her rest.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure Mademoiselle Rihanna is a loving mother figure to the staff while away from their families, but her eagerness to keep me from seeing Mademoiselle Elizabeth again does not sit comfortably.
Merci, mademoiselle. That is all for now.
So... Alright. Rihanna was unsure about the timing, and Archibald forgot he took a bottle of
Some would say a
whiskey
lucky
to the
guess.
major.
I
Their
would say a
stories
moment
aren't
of
lining
genius.
up. How can either of them forget something so important from only the day before? So, Archibald and Rihanna are unsure of their stories. And with that, with the staff covering up the real time of death,
Things are
it's causing a
beginning to
little
become
bit of a
clearer.
strain. Both Archibald and Rihanna played the parts very well, that is, until they became complacent. Why do the staff feel they need to fabricate stories? So they fabricated the story
Another success.
with
I
one
never
of them
doubted
posing
myself.
as the major. I almost had to relay their stories back to them both. I obviously cannot trust a word they have said. Why are the staff hiding the truth from me? So, why are y'all hiding the truth? Because it's a member of the staff that killed the
Magnifique.
major. It is a revelation I had not expected. The staff were involved in the murder. While young Inge is guilty of her own crimes associated with blackmail, it is Monsieur Sterling and Mademoiselle Rihanna that have been an integral part of in covering up and obscuring the truth of how the major was killed. Alright. The staff were already suspicious to begin with, but this confirms their involvement. Are all the staff members involved? So far, we know Rihanna and Archibald are involved in this. I am close to revealing the truth about the major's murder, but I must understand the roles that each and every person involved played before the final puzzle is solved. So both Elizabeth and Rihanna
I should not be surprised by my own skills of deduction.
are both upset about Luke's passing. I cannot imagine the pain they feel losing Luke. His memory will live on in their hearts. And they both grieve for Luke. So I wonder if Elizabeth was actually the one who found the body.
What a revelation.
Elizabeth looked pale, and the other members of staff were busy with their duties. She must have found the body, but did she play a part in the murder? She did go to Rihanna while
The
coming
pieces of the puzzle
downstairs.
are finally coming together.
Although her duties are primarily focused in the kitchen and pantry, I don't recall seeing her. So Rihanna wasn't seen after Elizabeth found the corpse. And since she wasn't,
Things are
She
beginning
could have
to become
possibly
clearer.
been impersonating the Major. Impersonating the Major was Rihanna's role in the plan. Why it was necessary, I am not sure of yet. Why did she feel the need to cover for Elizabeth? Not only that, you also got Archibald staging the phone call. Nope.
Come, my little grey cells. We must think logically.
I got a little too eager for that. Oh, wait. Archibald staged the phone call. Rihanna
I
wasn't
would
seen
say a
after the
lucky
corpse
guess.
was found.
I would say a moment of genius.
Archibald's acting skills came into play to cover for a member of the staff, but who? We've got 2 more links. Let's think. So Elizabeth found the body.
Another success. I never doubted myself.
And since Rihanna covered for her, Archibald had to have been covering for her as well. The stage phone call was Archibald's assignment. He went to great lengths to protect Elizabeth, but why did he feel the need to cover for Elizabeth? And then the last link is Inge feels disconnected from her peers.
Some would say a lucky guess. I would
Inge
say a
is the
moment of
only
genius.
one that's really and truly innocent in this. I'm confident Inge isn't part of the cover-up that has clearly been a focus for the other staff. While young Inge is guilty of her own crimes associated with blackmail, it is Monsieur Sterling and Mademoiselle Rihanna that have been an integral part in covering up and obscuring the truth of how the Major was killed. I now have all the pieces of the puzzle. I must return to my room and place them together until the result reveals itself. It is time for my little gray cells to go to work. I am so close to uncovering the truth. And we are just about uncovering the truth. So with all that being said, Archibald staged the phone call to cover for Elizabeth, and Rihanna was covering for her as well.
What a revelation.
How could I have allowed this to slip through my grasp? Elizabeth is the murderer. And there we are. I cannot believe I did not see it, blinded by my own trust. When I look back now, the clues were there staring me in the face. I spent my time chasing connections between the guests, their motives and agendas were more than enough to raise suspicion, but while distracted by them, I failed to notice the one absent member of the household. What I still cannot grasp is why. I promised myself that after that fateful day in the capital, I would not let my judgment steer me adrift, but once again, it is I looking the fool. There is nothing more that can be done tonight. I must at least try to rest my head in preparation for confronting Mademoiselle Elizabeth in the morning. Which leads us to Chapter 8. Sounds like somebody's walking about. What in the world? Has an elephant escaped and made its way to the 2nd floor? It sounds as though it's coming directly from above me, but that is the storage room? As tempting as it is, this and Chapter 9 are the last 2 chapters of this game. And since we are so close to finishing, I am, however, going to end it here, with this being a short chapter. And I will definitely be picking this back up next week. I will also be posting another video, should be posting another video Wednesday, because as we all know, March 20th, and I've been looking forward to this for the past couple of weeks, Alone in the Dark drops. I'm looking forward to having that up as soon as possible. So some of my usual content might just be put on pause. I will be picking it back up, possibly just rotating between games until I finish one or the other. Since we are almost finished with this one, I will definitely be picking up Alone in the Dark a little bit more. As soon as I finish up with Murders on the Orient Express, I will be planning on picking up the ABC Murders. But without further ado, I hope you guys have enjoyed this so far. I hope y'all are looking to the great reveal within this chapter and the next chapter. As excited as I am, which is one of the reasons why I have to put a pause. I want to continue playing, and I can't do that because that wouldn't be fair to you guys. But anywho, again, I hope you hope y'all are looking forward to Alone in the Dark as well as I am. Well, as much as I am, excuse me. Also, please do leave a like and subscribe on that video, and I'll catch y'all later. So, later. Bye! Mwah! Ouch! I love you, my lovely followers.